After 10 years of being invisible, the billionaire discovers his maid's incredible beauty in a legendary garden. Leo Matthews stood at the edge of his sprawling estate, a fortress of wealth that felt more like a prison. The sun shone brightly, casting playful shadows across the meticulously manicured lawn. As a billionaire, Leo had everything: money, cars, and a sprawling mansion, but none of it filled the hollow void inside him. For a decade, he had floated through meetings like a ghost, surrounded by hollow laughter and false smiles. His family was almost a distant memory, and the people in his neighborhood saw him as nothing more than a walking bank account. But today felt different. As he ambled down the stone path to the legendary garden, a sense of purpose stirred inside him. The garden, with its delicate blooms and vibrant colors, was the one place he felt truly alive. Here, among the flowers, he lost track of time and felt the warmth of life breathe into his frozen soul. It was during one of these rare moments of solace that he stumbled upon Gabriella. Sitting on a stone bench, her hair cascading like wild vines, she was on her break. The golden sunlight kissed her skin, illuminating her beauty in a way that struck Leo like a jolt of electricity. In that instant, she was no longer just a maid. She was a beacon of resilience, a glimpse into a world filled with dreams. She laughed softly, and the sound pulled Leo from the shadows he had inhabited for far too long. Who was this amazing woman who worked so hard yet wore her spirit like a badge of honor? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. In the days that followed, Leo's breaths were lighter, his steps brighter. Every moment spent with Gabriella echoed in his mind. They talked about dreams and aspirations over cups of coffee during her breaks, their laughter blending seamlessly with the hum of life in Maplewood. Her tenacity inspired him. She represented the spirit of everyday Americans who dared to fight against the odds. But with newfound joy came a storm on the horizon. Leo's friends, the elite of Maplewood, began to notice something was amiss. Whispers filled the air, disdain draped over their conversations like a heavy cloth. Gabriella? Really? They'd scoff. The growing bond between them was quickly labeled as folly. Leo found himself caught in the crosshairs of their elitist judgment, a battle between his heart and the expectations of his upbringing. At a local charity gala, where he was meant to donate without question, Leo felt a fire rising within him. He stood, heart racing, and announced his support for Gabriella's community. Gasps echoed through the crowd, and for the first time, he chose dignity over expectations. The repercussions of his decision crashed down around him, threatening to upend the life he had built. Just when the shadows began to lift, chaos emerged at home. His children confronted him, hurt and angry, voicing feelings of abandonment and disconnection. Their words cut deeper than anything he faced outside. It suddenly dawned on him wealth had clouded genuine connection. As he stood amid the chaos, Leo realized he had a critical choice to make. Would he quietly retreat back into his world of privilege, or take the tumultuous journey toward true connection, love, and fighting for justice? As the emotional weight pressed down on him, Leo felt a flicker of hope amidst the darkness. Would he be brave enough to confront not only the elite, but also the divides within his family? The question lingered in the air, heavy with possibility. Leo's mind was swirling. He could feel the tension in his chest, a knot tightening with each accusation from his children. They stood before him like judge and jury, searching for answers that he struggled to give. Their faces were a mixture of hurt and confusion, and that reflection tore at him deeper than any societal disdain. "Dad, it feels like you care more about her than us." His eldest son, Jake, voiced the frustration that hung in the air like a thick fog. "What about our family? What do you want us to think?" Leo opened his mouth to respond, but words failed him. His children were right. He had been slipping away. He was tired of pretending to be someone he wasn't. Someone they all needed him to be. Facing them, he felt the wall he built around himself start to crumble. "I'm trying to do what's right," he finally said, his voice trembling. Connecting with people, with real people. Gabriella, she sees me for who I am, not just my bank account. The silence in the room was deafening. Leo could feel every heartbeat as he glanced from one child to the next, searching for understanding in their eyes. Jake's expression hardened, while his daughter, Emma, looked away, torn. Do you think this is about money? Emma finally whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. Because it's not. Leo's heart bled for them. He could sense their struggle, the familiarity of being lost in a world full of privilege, yet empty. They had always taken the best schools, the best vacations, but at what cost? They hadn't learned compassion or connection. They had learned to live in isolation, protected by the very wealth they now resented. Maybe I've lost my way, he admitted, swallowing hard. But I want to find it again together. As he spoke, the words felt foreign, yet freeing, each syllable an admission of vulnerability he had rarely allowed himself to express, especially in front of those he loved most. Isn't our family more important than anyone else? Jake shot back, frustration still written all over his face. You're risking everything for her, for someone who's just a maid. Just? Leo stepped closer, his voice lifting with emotion, the heat rising in his chest. Gabriella is everything. She is strength and hope, qualities I suddenly realize I'm missing in my own life. She teaches me every day what it means to fight, to dream. Jake's stubbornness wavered for a moment, and Leo could see the glimmer of acknowledgement in his eyes. But before he could speak, the door swung open. Gabriella stood in the entrance hall, glancing hesitantly between Leo and his children. The air shifted instantly, the tension thickening. Leo's heart raced at the sight of her. Her gentle presence was a balm to his soul, yet felt like a match to the flickering flame of his family's anger. Leo, she started, her voice soft but strong. I didn't mean to intrude, no. It's fine, he interrupted, feeling the need to defend her, to protect this newfound light that radiated in his life. You're exactly who I want here. If we're going to heal, they need to see you. But as the words left his mouth, he could feel the storm brewing inside the room. Would this moment suffocate everything he was trying to build? Or could it be the bridge toward reconciliation? His children exchanged apprehensive glances. Leo had opened the door to a battle, one that could change everything. There was no retreating now. He had to trust in their bond as a family. As Gabriella stepped further into the room, Leo could almost hear the clock ticking. Would this tense moment lead to the understanding they desperately needed? Or would it tear them apart even further? With emotions running high and questions looming, he found himself silently praying for some form of redemption to guide them through the uncertainty. Would their connection be enough to withstand the implications of his choices? The room crackled with tension, as if the air itself had become charged with unspoken words. Leo stood there, caught between his past and a possible future, the gaze of his children weighing heavily upon him. He could feel Gabriella's presence growing beside him, steady and unwavering, but the intensity of the moment threatened to pull everything apart. Dad, Jake insisted, his brow furrowed with disbelief. You're telling us that you're willing to throw away everything we have for someone who cleans for a living? His voice wavered, betraying the hurt underneath his bravado. Emma stood silently, her lips pressed into a thin line, unsure of where to direct her anger. Gabriella took a step forward, her hand clasping Leo's. The gesture felt natural, yet so out of place. It was the first time all three children had witnessed their father standing up for someone outside the shell of their affluent world. I care about your father too, she said quietly, but her voice held strength. I didn't ask him to choose. He chose to see me. And there it is, Jake responded bitterly, shaking his head. You're just another distraction, another hobby. What happens when the thrill wears off? Leo could see a flash of pain in Gabriella's eyes. A spark of anger ignited within him, but he drew in a breath, wanting to keep the peace. This isn't fair, Emma finally spoke up, her soft voice trembling with emotion. You're treating him like a child, Jake. This is about Dad finding himself. Jake glanced at his sister, momentarily caught off guard. What if he loses himself even more? Maybe. Leo's heart ached, syllables spilling into the atmosphere as he recognized the truth in his children's fears. But nothing was ever perfect. I lost myself in the struggle to maintain a facade for you. Now I'm trying to shed that weight. A complete silence encased them. Leo could see Jake's jaw clenching, Emma's brow furrowing in thought. They needed a sign, a bridge to his heart, something to connect the many wounds that had festered over the years. What if we can't come back from this? Jake whispered, vulnerability breaking through his guard. What if you're okay with losing everything? Gabriella squeezed Leo's hand, her expression unwavering. You don't get it. Love isn't about convenience. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's painful. But it's real, she said quietly. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. The room felt like it was shrinking around them. Leo wanted to shout that he was ready for this mess, that he embraced it fully. But could he? Jake stepped back, his posture shifting from fight to retreat. I don't know how to feel about you now, Dad. I thought we were all we needed. And you are. Leo insisted, desperate to reach them. His heart raced, thoughts tumbling like errant waves. But we need to let love in, don't we? It's time to break the cycle. I don't want to hide anymore. Gabriella's eyes sparkled with unyielding trust in him. It was a trust he hadn't deserved, but one he longed to protect. Emma stepped closer, the hurt in her demeanor fading slightly. But can you love her as a person, or is it just a rebellion against us? Love, Leo paused, feeling the weight of the question hang like a heavy fog. Love is finding the truth in our hearts, no matter where it leads. Tears brimmed in Emma's eyes, and she looked from Leo to Gabriella. Jake stood frozen, caught in a web of conflict. Would they accept an unorthodox family, or would this divide them forever? As his heart thudded in his chest, Leo realized he had opened Pandora's box. He was ready for the fallout, but the question remained, could they navigate together through it all? Outside, the wind howled, and Leo stood steady, awaiting their response. Would they bridge the gap, or continue to drift apart? The silence hung heavy in the air, a tangible weight that pressed down on each of them. Jake turned away, his fists clenching at his sides, while Emma darted her gaze between Leo and Gabriella. Leo stood, rooted, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. The words he longed to say caught in his throat, battling with the uncertainty swirling around him. Dad, Emma spoke softly, her voice breaking through the tension. What is our family supposed to look like now? Do you see it? She gestured widely, frustration flickering like a flame. Everything we built, everyone's going to see this as a mess. Leo swallowed hard. The truth stung. He had spent so long focusing on appearances, on maintaining a perfect family facade. I don't expect you to understand. Not yet, he replied, his voice unsteady. But I'm asking you to try. I'm trying to find my way our way. Jake scoffed, shaking his head as he processed the upheaval before him. What you're doing is playing with fire. One wrong move, and we all get burned. We've seen families split apart over less. Pain etched deeper lines into his face, and Leo's heart somersaulted at the weight of his son's words. Gabriella stepped back, gauging the room as it shifted. Despite the rising tension, she didn't let go of Leo's hand. I'm not trying to break anything, she said softly, her voice like a bomb. This is about healing, about being honest. I didn't expect to come between your family. I'm just a part of his journey. Yeah, a part of our journey. Jake threw back, bitterness brimming. We didn't choose this. He did. Emma crossed her arms, tears now cascading down her cheeks. What if you end up hurting him? She asked Gabriella, her resolve faltering. You might leave him just like Mom did. The sharpness of those words cut through Leo like a knife. Memories of his wife's departure flooded his mind, the pain, the guilt, the way it shattered their once happy home. They had fought hard to regain stability, and now it felt like it was all unraveling again. I would never, Gabriella replied, her voice steady, though emotion flickered in her eyes. You don't know me yet, but I'm here for him. For you. At that moment, something within Leo shifted. He could see it in the flickering hope in Gabriella's expression and the trembling uncertainty in his children's faces. This wasn't merely an argument. It was a chance to rebuild. He took a step forward, dropping Jake's and Emma's defensive walls. What if we all try to meet each other halfway? He suggested, his heart racing at the vulnerability of those words. Can we just start there? Each telling our stories, sharing where we're coming from? Jake's bitter facade cracked slightly, uncertainty clouding his features. Emma wiped her eyes and glanced at her brother, searching for some common ground. You really think we can do that? She asked quietly. Leo nodded, holding Gabriella's hand tighter. We can try. Love doesn't come with rules, it comes with risks. The only way to level with ourselves is to face the storm together. The wind outside howled louder, rattling the window panes. In the midst of the turmoil, Leo felt a flicker of hope igniting within him. I know it's messy. I know, he continued, his voice louder now, filled with conviction. But we need to let the truth in even if it hurts at first. That is how we start healing. The atmosphere shifted, and for the first time, the tension began to ease. They were all standing on the edge of something new, something uncertain, but the cracks in their walls were beginning to show signs of light. Jake looked between them, his facade crumbling. What if it just gets worse, Dad? What if we can't take it? Leo took a deep breath, turning toward his son. Then we face it. Together, no matter what. As the storm raged outside, another storm brewed in their hearts. But at least they were all present, each soul resonating with uncharted possibility. The path ahead was daunting, but it was also filled with potential in that moment. Leo felt the fierce longing for connection overpowering the fear. But would they take that leap together? Or would they still find a way to drift apart? The thought lingered as they stood together, divided yet unified by their shared struggle. What would the next chapter of their lives hold? Jake looked away, his heart racing, emotions swirling like the storm raging just outside. He could see his father's determination, but doubt still clung to him like heavy fog. Fine, he said slowly, choosing his words with care. But where do we even begin? Maybe we start with what we're feeling, Leo replied, searching their eyes. Maybe we offer each other a piece of our truth. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest. Emma took a shaky breath. Honestly, I'm scared. Her voice trembled as she spoke, the weight of her emotions spilling over. I feel like I'm losing you both. If things keep going this way, I might not recognize my family anymore. Leo's heart ached at her words. You won't lose us, Emma. We're here, trying even if it doesn't look like what we thought it would. He glanced at Gabriella, who nodded encouragingly. Jake ran a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. It doesn't feel like it. All I see is you throwing everything we had into chaos. Maybe what we had, Gabriella interjected gently, wasn't working like we thought it was. The words hung between them, reverberating through the room. Leo felt the truth of it as much as he didn't want to. They had kept up appearances, wearing smiles while burying the fractures within. But now, cracks started to form openly, revealing their rawness. Then say it, Jake challenged, his voice rising with pain. What is not working? Leo took a deep breath, ready to surrender the pretense. We've been clinging to the past instead of dealing with the future. We have to face what we feel about Mom leaving, about everything. Pretending it didn't happen won't fix anything. Emma nodded, her tears still glistening. And what if this new chapter just hurts more? Then we hurt together, Leo responded softly. This isn't about avoiding pain. It's about facing it. Alone, it's too heavy to hold. A shared burden becomes lighter. Gabriella squeezed his hand, her gaze steady on the kids. I didn't come here to take away from what you had. I'm here to help create something new. But I can't do it without understanding all of you. The storm outside intensified, thunder rumbling like a distant warning. The air felt electric, full of unspoken fears. Yet, by naming those fears, they became tangible. Okay, Jake finally said, the fight easing from his tone. Let us do it. But it's on you, Dad. You need to be real with us. No more hiding. Leo nodded, feeling a fresh steadiness within himself. He was ready to share his truth, to peel back the layers of a past that felt too heavy to carry. I've been afraid too. Afraid of losing you and afraid of making bad decisions. The words hung there, underlined by vulnerability. For the first time, Leo felt himself stepping outside the rigid lines he'd drawn for himself. The storm within him might rage still, but it no longer felt like he was fighting against his own family. I don't want a perfect family, Emma shouted, the spark of rebellion igniting in her. I want a real family, with all its messiness and love. Can we just be? Leo beamed, her declaration echoing like a battle cry, embracing the hope they all desperately needed. Yes, he said firmly, as Jake and Gabriella watched, their hearts picking up speed. Let us be real together. As they spoke in the flickering light of their troubled hearts, it felt like the storm outside might finally start to fade. But would they truly find the strength to share their stories? Would their willingness to be honest be enough to mend their broken bonds? With the thunder still rumbling overhead, they stood on the precipice, ready to embrace the storm together, but only time would tell what the winds would bring next. The wind howled outside, crashing against the windows as if urging them to confront the chaos brewing within. Jake's heart pounded like the drum of a marching band. This was the moment he had both dreaded and yearned for. He felt the weight of his father's words pressing down on him, a mixture of hope and fear swirling like the storm outside. Gabriella stepped closer, resting her hands on her knees. "I think we're all scared," she said, her voice soft yet resolute. "But it's okay to admit that. We need to connect, to understand each other better." She glanced at Emma, whose eyes remained fixed on the floor, tracing imaginary patterns with her gaze. "Why did you come into our lives, Gabriella?" Jake asked, his tone sharper than he intended. "What do you expect from us?" Her expression shifted, hurt flashing briefly before she composed herself. "I wanted to help. I thought I could bring something positive, but if this is too much, I understand." "No," Leo spoke up quickly, holding out a hand. "We need to hear each other. As raw and messy as it might get, we need it. None of us are alone in this, remember?" Emma lifted her head, her tears glimmering under the dim light, like stars lost in the night sky. "I just want to remember what it felt like," she confessed, her voice breaking. "What it felt like to be a family before everything got," so she paused, searching for the right word, "broken." Leo swallowed hard. Memories of laughter, of shared moments that felt infinite, flooded his mind. "I remember too. I remember the love and the fun. We had a bond, and it's still there. It just needs some tending, like a garden overgrown with weeds." "Then let us start there," Jake said, his voice steadier now. "Tell us about Mom, Dad. What was she really like?" Leo took a deep breath, gathering the threads of memories that felt so distant yet vivid. She was fierce and kind, with a laugh that could light up the darkest room. She had this way of seeing beauty in everything. As Leo spoke, both Jake and Emma listened, leaning in as if they were uncovering buried treasure. The wind howled louder outside, but inside the warmth of the shared moment radiated like a protective shield. "Do you know why she left?" Emma asked quietly, breaking the spell. Leo hesitated, the air growing thick with unanswered questions. "I don't fully understand. I think she felt like she was losing herself." "Losing herself?" Jake echoed, confusion mingling with empathy. "But she left us, didn't she?" "Yes," Leo admitted, pain etched into his features. "And I never wanted to face that reality. I let my hurt blind me. I always thought if I acted tough, I could shield you both from the truth." Tears slipped down Emma's cheeks as she processed his words. "I just want to know it all," she whispered. "If I understand, I might find a way to forgive her." Each word felt like a stone sinking into a deep pond, the ripples expanding through their collective pain. "Forgiveness isn't easy," Gabriella said gently, "but it's a step towards healing. We can learn and move forward together." Jake looked at their small circle, the warmth of vulnerability wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. "Okay, let us keep going. We don't have to rush, but we also can't sit back and pretend we're all okay." As the storm raged outside, they found refuge in this moment, a fragile spark of connection forming amid the chaos. Leo smiled, though sadness shadowed his eyes. "Let us keep talking," he said softly. "Let us share our truths, piece by piece. It's time we learn about each other in all our truth and messiness." But just as hope ignited, the lights flickered, and the room succumbed to darkness. Fear washed over them in waves. Would the tempest outside be matched by new storms within them? With hearts racing and shadows closing in, they were left grappling with the unknown. What awaited them in the uncharted territory of their emotions? The sudden darkness wrapped around them like a heavy fog, suffocating and unsettling. Shadows danced against the walls, making familiar corners seem menacing. The howling wind outside became the voice of their unspoken fears, amplifying the weight of their unresolved issues. Jake felt his heart squeeze in his chest, a mix of dread and anticipation tangled up tightly. "Guys, are you okay?" Emma's voice trembled slightly, breaking through the thick silence that had settled over them. Jake could hardly suppress a shiver. It wasn't just the cold from the outside, it was the uncertainty that gnawed at him. "Yeah, we're okay," Leo replied, though Jake could sense the question lingering in his father's voice. Were they really okay? What would they even talk about in the dark? Gabriella's voice steadied the room. I'm here. We all are. Let us use this moment. Let us share. Jake felt the pull of her honesty. Share what? He asked, trying to keep the anxiety from creeping back into his tone. What can we really say in the dark? In the dark, sometimes we can speak the truth without the fear of judgment, Gabriella said firmly. Things can seem clearer when we strip away the light and look inward. Like what? Jake pressed, a hint of his previous sharpness returning. About our fears, our memories, Gabriella suggested. Let us talk about what hurts the most. Emma's breath hitched. What if we start with the last memory of her? The last time I saw Mom. A deep sigh escaped Leo. Okay, let us do it. In the thick darkness, the walls closed in, but somehow that made them feel closer together, surrounded by only their voices and the pounding heartbeats filled with shared angst. Jake's mind flickered back to that memory, pulling it closer. I remember her eyes when she left, Emma began. It felt like a part of her was already gone, like she was saying goodbye before she even left. That day was awful, Leo said quietly. I thought I was doing the right thing, pretending everything was fine. Pretending? Jake echoed. It was a lie, Dad. We were falling apart. I know, Leo said, his tone softer, almost defeated. But I didn't know how to fix it. I thought I could be strong for you too. I didn't want to admit how broken I was. The wind screeched, a reminder of the storm that wreaked havoc outside and inside their hearts. Jake took a shaky breath, suddenly filled with anger mixed with grief. Why didn't you just tell us? Because I thought, Leo started, but Gabriella interrupted him. Because sometimes we believe silence is safer, she said, a quiet understanding in her voice. But silence can breed more darkness. Like the darkness right now? Emma whispered, her voice cracking again. I hate it. It's scary, Jake admitted, anger dissipating into vulnerability. But somehow it also feels freeing to talk. Finally, a gust of wind made the house creak. They all held their breath, waiting for what was next. Would it be more memories? More sorrow? Or would they begin unearthing pieces of hope? I want to remember the good, Emma admitted, her voice a fragile whisper. Those moments we laughed together, the room felt quiet. Each of them was lost in their own thoughts, but somehow they were intertwined, pulling each other back to warmer memories. As they sat cloaked in darkness and vulnerability, the air buzzed with unspoken words and tentative hope. What if this storm was just the beginning of clearing out the clouds of their past? Could they truly find a way to reconnect? Outside, the wind howled louder than before, as if anticipating the secrets about to fracture the silence. With hearts holding on to hope, they were ready for what came next. But just then, a sudden flicker of light sparked through the darkness, illuminating their faces for a brief moment. What new truths would be uncovered now that they were stepping into the light? The flicker of light was brief, like a firefly zipping across the night. It cast soft shadows on their faces, revealing a mix of worry and anticipation, but just as quickly, the darkness swallowed it back, leaving them enveloped in thick silence. The promise that had sparked inside Jake dimmed, leaving him clinging desperately to that fleeting moment of illumination. Did you see that? He asked, his voice barely a whisper, glancing around at the others. He could feel the weight of their shared experience pressing down even harder now, like a blanket heavy with rain. Emma nodded, her eyes wide. It felt different, like something else about to change. Gabriella leaned forward, the sincerity thickening her voice. What if the light is a sign? A chance to pull ourselves into a brighter space, away from all this darkness we've been holding on to? Leo cleared his throat, struggling against the torrent of emotions swirling within him. What if change hurts? He said, vulnerability spilling over his walls. What if, as we tear through these old memories, we find things that crush us even more? But what if it brings us back together? Jake blurted out, feeling the urge to grab hold of something, anything, really, that could steer them in a better direction. If we talk about the good, share the good. Can't we build from there? Emma took a deep breath. Let us share one of those good memories then, she urged, her voice steadying. I want to remember the times we all laughed. The air shifted, and the weight of their hearts lightened slightly. Memories, tinged with warmth, began to flutter among them like autumn leaves. Through the shadows, they started weaving a tapestry of laughter. I remember that time Mom tried to bake a cake. Leo chuckled softly, imaging the scene clearly. She forgot to put in sugar. It was like eating cardboard. Emma giggled, her laughter breaking through the gloom. And we ended up making our own toppings and pretending it was gourmet. I think we used ketchup as one of the toppings. Don't forget the part where we all ran to the garden and threw the cake at the fence. We created an entire masterpiece. Jake exclaimed, his spirits lifting, feeling their laughter echo through the darkness. Gabriella grinned, clearly enjoying their playful exchange. See, there it is. That energy, it's still within all of you. It never really left. You just need to bring it all into the light again. Can we keep going? Emma asked, her eyes sparkling now. What other moments made us feel whole? As they continued sharing, Jake felt warmth blooming in his chest. Each laugh knitted them a little tighter. Each story veered them away from the remnants of their pain, pulling them closer to something resembling joy. But just as the air began to feel lighter, the wind shrieked, rattling the windows violently. It brought a chill that enveloped them once more, urging them back into hesitation. The laughter stumbled, and their hearts pounded nervously. Let us not lose this, Leo urged urgently, gripping the edge of the couch. We need to address the shadows and not shy away anymore. It's not just about laughter. It's everything. Jake felt the pulse of the moment, recognizing the balance of joy and sorrow. What are we afraid of, really? He pondered out loud, the question hanging thick with potential. Emma shifted nervously. I think we fear the truth, what we might unearth, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The room brimmed with uncertainty as the wind howled once more, a reminder of the storm outside that matched the turmoil inside them. They all shared a moment of silence. The unbroken connection felt heavier now. Are we ready to face it? Gabriella's voice was resolute, yet soft, like a candle flickering to fight the darkness. Just then, the flicker returned, brightening the room once again. But this time it wasn't tea, just the light. The storm outside shifted, and a strange sound rippled through the air, a cracking, almost like a voice breaking through the chaos. Did you hear that? Jake's heart raced, as fresh fear mingled with the remnants of hope. The light was dancing, teasing them with clarity, but now it felt like there was more to uncover. What if something is coming? Emma said, her voice tiny in the vast stillness that followed. Jake felt his pulse quicken. Something or someone, he replied, his mind racing. They all turned to face the door, wondering what the next twist in their story would reveal in the morning light. What awaited them beyond that door? The door creaked ominously as a figure emerged from the shadows, momentarily silhouetted against the flickering light. The wind howled again, throwing scattered leaves against the glass, creating a frenzied backdrop that made their hearts race. Who is there? Jake shouted, his voice breaking through the tension. The silhouette paused, allowing the light to cascade over their features, revealing the familiar face of Mrs. Thompson, their childhood neighbor. Her eyes glinted with an intensity that sent shivers down Jake's spine. Mrs. Thompson? Emma's voice wavered. What are you doing here? I saw the flicker from my porch, she said, breathless with urgency. I feared you'd bar the door tight against the storm, but I couldn't let you stay in here alone. The group exchanged glances, relief washing momentarily over their faces at the sight of her. It felt like an anchor in the swirling chaos. Why does it feel like this moment matters? Leo said quietly as he stepped forward. A weight hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths, beckoning them to confront the shadows lurking just beyond the light. Mrs. Thompson hesitated, gauging the atmosphere, then took a breath as if preparing to unravel the tension. You all seemed lost. I know this storm is a catalyst for change, but sometimes change carries ghosts, things we don't want to relive. Jake's heart skipped. He detected a hint of truth in her words, a whisper echoing his earlier thoughts. What do you mean? That light you saw, it can bring clarity to the remembered pain. I've witnessed it in many, she murmured, stepping further into the room until she was fully illuminated. Sometimes, facing the memories brings healing, but it can also stir up the worst. Gabriella clasped her hands. We can handle it, she asserted, though her voice tremored slightly. What do you see in us? In these memories? Mrs. Thompson looked at each of them, her gaze steady. I see laughter and heartache intertwined. A love shared, yet also a fear of losing one another. Pain can create walls, but you must not forget the bonds of joy. As she spoke, Jake felt the tension choke him. Memories of happy days collided with the sorrow of their absence, and the emotional weight felt insurmountable. What if the pain outweighs the laughter? He muttered, his voice thick, vulnerability spilling through. The choice is yours. Mrs. Thompson's words hung in the air like a delicate thread, bold and fragile at once. You can give power to the past, or you can reclaim both laughter and love. The wind roared outside, rattling the glass, almost drowning them in its tempest. But Mrs. Thompson's presence was a tiny flame against it, igniting something deep within. They took a collective breath, bracing themselves against the winds of change, hearts embracing both fear and hope. "All right," Jake declared, his stomach twisting with resolution. "Together, we can face what's buried. Let us dig deeper." They nodded, aligning their intentions, ready to unearth what lay beneath the surface. But as another loud crack echoed through the house, the lights flickered yet again. More than just uncertainty gripped them now. A real, palpable dread settled in. Just then, a soft knock echoed at the door, slicing through the rising tension. "Who is it?" Emma asked, a note of apprehension creeping into her voice. "Can we handle whatever's behind this door?" Leo whispered, doubt creeping back. Jake stood taller, heart racing as he summoned what courage he could find. "Let us see." He took a step toward the door, giving a final shared look to his friends. With trembling hands, he reached for the handle. What awaited them on the other side? Would it be a revelation or a return to shadows? As Jake slowly turned the handle, the door creaked open, revealing an unexpected sight. The storm outside seemed to pause, the fierce winds accompanying a soft drizzle that painted the world in silver. There stood Gabriella's mentor, a wise woman from their community named Dolores, holding a lantern that cast a warm glow around her. "Hello, Leo." "Hello, family," she greeted, her voice a soothing balm amid the pent-up anxiety in the room. The tension that had been palpable moments before began to dissipate as Dolores stepped inside, her presence a reminder of the community that enveloped them like a protective embrace. "Dolores?" Leo stepped forward, relief washing over him. "Why are you here? I sensed you all needed a guiding light." "Sometimes, the storm can reveal more than we think," she replied, her eyes searching each of their faces as if measuring their collective weight. "It shows us the cracks, places where light can enter." The truth struck like a chord. There was something almost ethereal about her words. It echoed the journey Leo and his children were navigating, illuminating the reality they had all felt but were too afraid to articulate. "Can we all sit?" Dolores motioned toward a nearby cluster of chairs. "This is a moment of truth." As they found their places, Jake couldn't shake the anxious energy buzzing all around. He could almost feel the memories swirling like autumn leaves outside. They were hovering just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered. "Tell me, what have you all been facing?" Dolores prompted gently, her eyes soft yet probing. "What burdens are you each carrying within?" Jake's heart raced. He had been holding his truth tight, locked in fear and anger. But as he opened his mouth to respond, the words stumbled out. "I'm scared of losing what little we have left. I don't know how to trust anymore." Leo shifted, rising to his full height as he found his voice too. "I've always put up walls. I thought that being strong meant shielding you both from anything that might hurt. I was wrong." Pain laced through his admission. He could see the emotions reflected on their faces, his children torn between the weight of their past and the potent ache of hope for a brighter future. "The first step is honesty," Dolores encouraged quietly, embracing the mess, leaning into it. "Sometimes, pain is a bridge, not a barrier." "Pain is a bridge?" Emma whispered, testing the words as if they were foreign flowers blooming in her mind. "What does that even mean?" Dolores smiled, her wisdom threading through the room. "It connects us in the understanding that though we each have our struggles, we can meet at the center and find healing together." "Can we really?" Jake asked, his voice trembling with doubt. "What if the wound is too deep?" "We won't know unless we dive in," Dolores replied, her tone unyielding yet nurturing. "Let us start by sharing what we've lost. Acknowledge it together." In the quiet that followed, Emma bravely spoke up, her voice more steady now. "I miss my old family. The one where we laughed before everything fell apart." Tears rimmed her eyes, shimmering with vulnerability as she shared a piece of her heart. "It hurts," Leo admitted, his throat tightening. I always thought we had to be strong, that we needed to be perfect. But I've realized that being real is far more important. Their confessions hung in the air, the emotional walls that had kept them apart crumbling like leaves in the autumn breeze. They were reigniting the flickers of love that had laid dormant in their hearts. Maybe it's time we redefine our family, Gabriella ventured. One that acknowledges both joy and pain, and creates room for all of it. And love isn't about convenience, Mrs. Thompson added softly. It's messy. It's beautiful. It's being there for each other despite our struggles. With every word shared, the heaviness shifted slightly. For the first time in years, Jake could feel hope blooming in the depths of his heart. The darkness outside mimicked their past struggles, but couldn't eclipse them anymore. They were confronting pain with shoulders squared, together. Let us make a pact, Leo suggested, a spark igniting in his eyes. A pact to be honest, to share the good with the bad. We'll navigate this together, not just as a fractured family, but as a united one. And then it happened. The door swung back, not on hinges but on the promise of new beginnings. They stepped together into the light, hearts intertwined, ready to face whatever storms may come. As the rain softened, hints of sunlight broke through the clouds, warming their faces like a gentle reminder that after every storm, there's a chance for rebirth. They were ready to mend, not just out of necessity, but out of love, a love that was finally given the breath it needed to grow. Embracing every moment, they ventured outside into the newfound clarity and light, promising each other that they would face whatever lay ahead together. Now, as their laughter harmonized with the ensuing calm for the first time in a long while, they had a chance to rebuild. What would come next would be shaped by each choice, and every decision made would bring them closer to being who they were meant to be. This was their moment, to be brave, to emerge as one, and to harness the power of both love and truth. And so, as they took their first steps, they whispered their hopes into the open. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help this channel grow. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, and don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, because only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.